Alright, next we are going to discuss the different laws of exponents. First, let's try to define what is an exponent. So if you have 5 to the power of 3, this 5 here is what we call the base, and then 3 here is our exponent. Example, 125 is equal to 5 to the power of 3. It means that 5 raised to 3 is the exponential form of the number 125. 5 raised to 3 means 3 factors of 5, or 5 times 5 times 5. The first law of exponents is the exponential form. The exponent of a power indicates how many times the base multiplies itself. So if you have x raised to n, it means that you have to multiply x times x times x n times. N factors of x. Example, 5 raised to 3 is equal to 5 times 5 times 5. Next law is multiplying powers. If you are multiplying powers with the same base, keep the base and add the exponents. Or in simple formula, if we have x to the power of m times x to the power of n, then the product is equal to x to the power of the sum of the two exponents. Let's have an example of multiplying powers. If I have 2 raised to 6 times 2 raised to 3, product is equal to, just copy the base. It says here, keep the base. In this case, the base is 2, and then add the exponents. So we add 6 plus 3. So we have 2 raised to 9. And if you simplify 2 raised to 9, remember that law number 1 means I have 9 factors of 2. So you have to multiply 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 9 times. And if you're going to do that, it will be equal to 512. So I hope you can easily understand the second law. When you multiply powers, you have to add the exponents. We will provide more examples on multiplying powers. Now, in some textbooks, instead of using multiplying powers, they use product of powers. So they're the same thing. Product of powers and multiplying powers are the same thing. And again, when you get the product of powers, you just have to add the exponents. Now, before we provide more examples, I would like to review what we learned in Unit 1, that is, anything raised to 0 is equal to 1. But of course, provided that your base is not equal to 0. So here's an example. X raised to 0 is equal to 1. Again, remember the exemption here is that your base cannot be equal to 0. We cannot have 0 raised to 0. So your base here should be not equal to 0. Now, if I have a product of yx and both is raised to 0, then the entire expression will be equal to 1. Now let's see the last two examples. Here I have the quantity 2x raised to 0. So this expression here will be equal to 1. For this last example, note that only x is raised to 0. So negative 2 is not raised to 0, it's only the variable x. In this case, your x will be the one that is equal to 1. So your x raised to 0 will be equal to 1. So negative 2 times x raised to 0 is the same thing as negative 2 times 1 equal to negative 2. All right, let's have our another example on how to multiply monomials, same base. So remember that if we have x squared times x4 using law number 1, it means that I have two multiples of x times four multiples of x. So x squared means x times x times x raised to 4 means x times x times x times x. So if you multiply all of this, how many x's do we have? We have x raised to 6. So we have here 6 factors of x, and we can write that as x raised to 6. Now, of course, this is using law number 1. We can actually just apply law number 2, which is x squared times x4 is just equal to x. Just copy the same base, and then just add the exponents 2 plus 4, which is equal to 6. All right, next example. Which expression is equivalent to the following expression? 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Now, note that I have here 3 factors of 2. So this one means 2 raised to 3. And here I have 2 factors of 3. So that's 3 raised to 2. So this one is 2 raised to 3 times 3 raised to 2. So this expression is equivalent to expression letter D. All right, let's have the next example. Let's say we are going to multiply this monomial by this another monomial. I have 2 times a to the power of 2 times y to the power of 3 times 3a cubed times y4. So here we can simplify this by first multiplying your coefficients. When you multiply your coefficients, your 2 and your 3, you just have to apply the regular multiplication of two numbers. So you just have to multiply 2 times 3, okay? And then I will multiply a2 and a3, and then multiply y cubed by y4. So we can actually justify this using the concept of your commutative property. You can just move your a cubed close to a2. You can move y cubed close to y4, and you can move your 3 close to your 2. Next, we multiply your coefficients, which is 2 times 3. This will give us 6. Now a2 times a3, we can simplify this. We have the same base. Just copy the same base, which is a, and then for your exponents, you have to add 2 and 3, which is 5. Y cubed times y4, again, you have to copy the same base y, and then add the exponents 3 plus 4, which is equal to 7. Okay, so to summarize, I would suggest that you simplify first your coefficients. 2 times 3, which is 6. And then you multiply a2 by a3. Just copy the base, add the exponents. Same thing with y cubed and y4. You copy the base y, and then add the exponents. Okay, next example. Negative 5s6 p9 times s squared times p. All right, let's have our third example. So we are multiplying this monomial by another monomial. So first, we need to multiply the two coefficients. In this case, our coefficients are -5 and we have a 1 here. Okay, so we multiply -5 times 1, and that's equal to -5 times 1 is equal to -5. And then we do S6 times S2, and then we do P9 times P. Now remember, if you don't see any exponents, it means that exponent will be equal to 1. So I will have P9 times P raised to 1. So we are done with our coefficients, which is -5 times 1. Next, we are going to multiply S6 by S2. So we have the same base. Just copy the base S, and then you add the exponents 6 and 2, which is equal to 8. Next, P9 times P raised to 1. Copy the base, which is P, and then add the exponents 9 plus 1, which is equal to 10. All right, our last example. We have here 2/3 times 9 x squared y4 times 4x7 y raised to 0. Okay, so first let's try to multiply our coefficients. Okay, I have here 2/3, 9, and then 4. So we can multiply 2/3 times 9 times 4, and then we can multiply x2 and then the x7, and then y4 times y4. This one is y4. y4 times y raised to 0. So 2/3 times 9, it's just equal to 6. We can just divide 9 by 3, and then that's 3. 3 times 2, so this will just be equal to 6. Then times 4. 6 times 4 here is 24. Next, x2 times x7. Copy the base. Add the exponents, 2 plus 7, which is equal to 9. And then here, copy the base, which is y, and then add the exponents, 4 plus 0, which is just equal to 4. Okay? Now, for some of you who might recognize that y raised to 0 is just actually equal to 1, then you can do that, and you will get the same result. You will just have to multiply 2/3 times 9 times 4, which is just 24. And then x2 times x7, which is x9. And then your y4 times 1. y4 times 1 is just equal to y4. So this will be the answer for this expression. So what I need you to do is to finish the rest of the questions in your packet. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask questions when we have our class tomorrow. All right, bye.